Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we have a very special video, the ultimate meat sauce, a Bolognese. This is a traditional Italian meat sauce that you can use when you make regular old spaghetti or when making lasagna. And you can also use it as a base recipe in a variety of other dishes such as the Greek moussaka or even Moroccan shakshuka. And the meat sauce I'm going to show you today will never fail you. It's super rich and flavorful, and most importantly, it's simple and straightforward. And make sure to watch this video until the end because I'm going to be sharing some intricate techniques that can only be learned in restaurant kitchens. So with that being said, let's get into the kitchen and let's start making Bolognese. So we're going to start off by preparing our vegetables, which are going to be carrots, onions, and celery. So we'll start off by peeling 2 medium-sized carrots, and the trick here is to keep the carrot on the board and use the peeler and rotate your carrot as you peel. And then once our carrots are peeled, we're going to halve them so they're easier to work with, and we're going to begin slicing them into tranches. The next step is we're going to julienne these tranches, so we want to make sure that they're all lined up at first so that we can move along our board seamlessly as we julienne. And as I julienne and glide my knife across this stack, I'm ensuring that I'm only gripping the handle and I'm not pinch gripping the base of the knife. And this is going to allow me to glide my knife across these tranches with speed and efficiency. Now from this julienne, we're going to reorient our pile and we're going to begin with a brunoise. So if you're working with a large pile like I am here, you're going to want to ensure that your guide hand's fingers are spread across evenly on the pile so that the julienne pieces don't move around. And this is going to ensure that we have control over our pile when we dice. So once your carrots are brunoise, then you're going to place it into a container and reserve to the side. And here are our carrots, and this is the size that we're looking for. Next we'll brunoise our celery, and I'll start off by having the stalk so that it's easier to work with. And in order to tranche the celery, I'm going to slice across horizontally and do it again once more. And with the same process as my carrot, I'm going to julienne these celery tranches. And then I'll move on to a brunoise. And here is what our celery looks like once brunoised. So next I'll start by having a Spanish onion and then peeling. Now once peeled, I'll start making slits across the onion like so. And I have a video completely dedicated on how to dice an onion, and I'll leave it in the top corner here so you can go check it out after this video. Now after dicing this onion, I'm going to perform a haché, which is just a fancy French term for chopping. Now after I perform the haché, I'm going to place this into a container and reserve to the side. Next, I'll start with 3 to 4 cloves of garlic, and I'm going to smash them with the base of my knife and just remove that peel. Once that peel is removed, I'll then line them all up and start to dice finely. And this back and forth motion I'm using with my knife is called washoku, and it's used in Japanese kitchens. So next I'm going to show you the double chop technique. So here you're going to lightly rest your hand on the spine of the knife, and at the same time, while gently gripping the handle of the knife, you're going to move the knife's handle in an up and down motion, and it's going to create this rocking movement. So here we have it. Here is our mirepoix, our onions, celery, and carrot. So here is a quick summary of what we learned. First, we start off by slicing our vegetable into tranches, and then from tranches we move on to a julienne, and then from julienne we do a brunoise, and from a brunoise, if necessary, we can then hacher. So next we'll begin by mixing our spices for our meat. So start off by adding half a teaspoon of fennel seeds into a spice grinder or a mortar and pestle, along with 8 to 10 black peppercorns. So begin by breaking this down with your mortar and pestle, and a little trick is to add some salt, which will act as an abrasive to help break this down even quicker. Then you're going to add 1 teaspoon of dried oregano, along with 2 teaspoons of paprika. Lastly, you're going to add 1/4 of a teaspoon of cayenne pepper, and you're going to mix this thoroughly. Now once mixed thoroughly, this spice mixture is now done. So next we'll begin by browning our meat, and here I'm using 1 pound of lean ground beef and 1 pound of lean ground pork. Now add both meats to a large bowl along with 2 teaspoons of salt and mix thoroughly. Once mixed, I'm going to get a pan onto medium-high heat, and once heated up, I'm going to add some olive oil, and then I'll add my meat, and I'll make sure that the mixture is spread evenly across the pan. Now once your meat starts to cook, what you want to do is grab a wooden spoon and break this mixture down as much as possible. Now one thing to note is to be patient here, because as the meat cooks, it's going to release a lot of moisture and it's not going to do what you want it to do. And what we want it to do at the end of the day is to brown. And because there's so much moisture, it's not going to brown right away, but we have to cook off and evaporate all that water within that meat. And then once we do, we're gonna start to hear the pan sizzle, and that's when the browning process will begin. So what you really want to do is just be patient and keep breaking down that meat, and once that moisture has cooked off and that meat starts to brown, you're going to add your spice mixture and just mix thoroughly. Now finally, we're gonna bring this all together. So bring a large pot onto medium heat, add some olive oil, and then we're going to begin by adding our carrots and sweating those off. Now follow that with your chopped onions and garlic. Season generously with salt, and here I'm going to add about 3 to 4 sprigs worth of thyme. Mix once again, and then I'm going to add our brunoised celery. Add your meat and spice mixture. Then we're going to add 1 liter of canned crushed tomatoes. Mix really well, and then add half a liter of milk, and the milk is going to add an amazing richness and umami to this bolognese. And lastly, I'm going to top this off with a bit of water, and here I'm using about 3 tablespoons worth. Then we're going to season this generously and bring to a simmer, cover, and we're gonna cook this for about 2 hours. Now after 1 hour, here is what it looks like. And as you can see, the fat from the milk and the meat has split from the sauce, and that is what we want. And then we're going to mix that really thoroughly and emulsify it back together. And we're going to cover with the lid, and we're gonna cook this for an additional hour. And after 1 more hour, here is the final reveal. Mix really thoroughly. And here is our beautiful bolognese. Extremely rich and savory, but also well balanced from the acid from the tomatoes. So there it is, a proper bolognese that you can brag about to your friends and to your family next time you make some homemade lasagna. So I hope you learned a bunch from this video, not only how to make a bolognese, but also certain techniques, especially when it comes to knife skills. Aside from knife skills, what's really important is getting your mise en place ready, like what we did with the bolognese, and portioning everything into its own container. Once you have all that prepped and you have your mise en place ready, cooking becomes a lot lighter, a lot easier, and a lot more fun. Sometimes for people, cooking can be really stressful because they're trying to multitask so many things, but the trick is to focus your energy on one task at a time and just make sure you're organized before placing anything into a hot pan. It's easy to get frustrated when you're cooking something in the pan and you're trying to also chop something on your board, because both tasks require equal amounts of concentration. In restaurant kitchens especially, most of the hard work is done during prep, but once service begins and we start cooking, things should go a lot more smoother. And that's because the holy grail of all cooking is our mise en place. It's our preparation. So always keep that in mind when you're in the kitchen and when you're cooking a meal, regardless of how simple or complex that meal is. So once again, I really hope you enjoyed this video, and definitely subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I hope to see you in the next video. But until then, keep on cooking.